Okay, so you're ready to dive deeper into blockchain, huh? It's a wild world out there, but someone's got to make sense of it all, right?
Absolutely. And today, we're tackling a big one. Proof of stake?
Proof of stake, PoS. Yeah, you hear it everywhere these days, but we're going to break it down, like really break it down.
We're going beyond just knowing the term. By the end of this, you'll be able to explain it to your friends, your grandma, maybe even your dog.
Hopefully your dog's a quick learner, but that's okay. Look, our sources today are saying this isn't just some tech upgrade, it's potentially a fundamental shift.
Exactly. We're talking about changing how we think about trust, security, even power dynamics, all thanks to this thing called proof of stake.
Right. It's a lot to unpack, so let's start with the basics. Can you walk us through what proof of stake actually is? Like for someone who's heard the term but doesn't really get it.
Okay, imagine a world where instead of needing massive amounts of computing power to mine cryptocurrency, you just need to prove you've got some skin in the game. That's the core idea.
Skin in the game, so like owning some of the cryptocurrency already?
Bingo. You're staking your existing coins to participate in validating transactions and securing the blockchain. Think of it like a decentralized system of trust built on holding each other accountable.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this is different from the whole mining thing I always hear about. Our source material mentions something about validators. What are those?
Right, so in proof of stake, miners are out, validators are in. Basically, they're the ones checking and confirming transactions on the blockchain. But here's the kicker. To become a validator, you got to put your money where your mouth is and stake a certain amount of cryptocurrency.
So the more crypto you stake, the more, say, you have in validating transactions.
Pretty much. The more you stake, the higher your chances of being selected to add new blocks to the blockchain and earn rewards.
Yeah,
It's all about aligning incentives, you see.
it does make sense. If you've got a lot invested, you're less likely to mess things up. But what about the flip side?
Yeah.
What stops someone with tons of coins from just taking over the whole system?
That's the million-dollar question, right?
Uh-huh.
And this is where proof of stake gets really interesting. See, it's designed in a way that makes attacking the network incredibly risky, like financially suicidal.
Suicidal how?
Well, if you control a majority of the stake, yeah, you could theoretically try to manipulate the system. But here's the thing. Any fraudulent activity would immediately tank the value of the cryptocurrency you hold a majority of.
Ouch. Talk about shooting yourself in the foot.
Exactly. It becomes economically irrational to attack the network because you'd be destroying your own investment in the process.
That's a pretty powerful disincentive. But let's say someone's feeling reckless. Anything else in place to keep things in check?
Oh, absolutely. Remember how we talked about skin in the game? Well, proof of stake takes that literally. There's this mechanism called slashing.
Slashing. Sounds scary.
It kind of is if you're trying to cheat the system.
Huh?
Here's how it works. If a validator tries to do something shady, like approve a fraudulent transaction, they get penalized. And not just a slap on the wrist, they lose a portion or even all of their staked coins.
Whoa. Talk about high stakes. Okay, so you've got the incentives, the punishments, but how does this whole proof of stake thing actually work on a larger scale? Our research mentions something called delegated proof of stake. DPoS, a fascinating variation. Imagine a system where instead of every single token holder participating in validation, they get to vote on delegates to represent them.
So it's like a democracy, but for cryptocurrency.
Precisely. It's all about scaling up participation and making governance more efficient. You're essentially pooling your voting power with others to elect representatives who will validate transactions on your behalf.
Okay, now we're talking. That's super interesting. And we see this playing out in the real world too, right? Like Ethereum, the second biggest cryptocurrency, they switched to proof of stake.
Yeah. Huge milestone for POS. It showed that this system that we're talking about, it can work on a massive scale. And then you've got projects like Cardano doing some really innovative things with their approach to POS.
Okay, but gotta ask, there's always a catch, right?
Yeah.
Our sources mentioned this nothing at stake problem, right? It's a legitimate concern. And a great example of how the blockchain space is constantly evolving. Basically, it's this theoretical vulnerability where a validator could participate in multiple chains, potentially messing with the main chain's security.
So like double dipping, but with blockchain.
Yeah, kinda. But the cool thing is, developers are already coming up with clever solutions, like finality gadgets.
Finality gadgets. Sounds intense.
Basically, it's a way to supercharge the transaction confirmation process, making it practically impossible for validators to mess around on multiple chains. It adds another layer of security and ensures everyone's playing by the same rules.
I gotta admit, this is pretty mind-blowing stuff. Our listeners are now officially in the know when it comes to proof of stake. We've gone through how it works, its security features, even the challenges it's facing.
And don't forget, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Proof of stake is just one piece of the ever-evolving blockchain puzzle.
Exactly. To our awesome listeners, keep exploring, keep asking questions, because who knows, maybe you'll be the one to crack the next big blockchain breakthrough.
Here.
Until next time, happy exploring!